قد أفلح المؤمنون.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. أفضل الذكر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد النبي وعلى ذريته وعلى أهل بيته. Our respected Muslim brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And if you didn't already see, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, today we'll be discussing and going into the kufr of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, la'anahullah, with topics to do with the ahadith, such as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursing him on many, many, many occasions. And with that, I would pass the microphone to Brother Saifuddin al-Hashimi. Ahlan wa sahlan, Sayyid.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected brother, to all of you listening. So I wanted to just start us off by going over once again why discuss this topic? Why do we discuss this topic at all? Because there's a number of people, both Sunnis and Shia, who would ask, it's like, why focus on Muawiyah? Why not focus on another topic? And as we're going to demonstrate here, inshallah, in this session, Muawiyah is easy pickings. He's low-hanging fruit. And it would sort of be foolish and negligent not to attack him, we would say. As in, he was an enemy of the Ahlul Bayt. He was clearly not a Muslim, as we will demonstrate, inshallah. And he was cursed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And whenever the Mukhalifeen say Muawiyah is not important, as we have demonstrated many times in the past, and as many people have seen, that when you want to debate the Mukhalifeen on the Sahaba, specifically Muawiyah, what they do is that they demonstrate their cowardice. They demonstrate for us that they are unwilling to debate this topic because they know it is a battle that they cannot win. So we see here in Kitab Tarikh Baghdad, and we have quoted this before, but just for those of you who have not maybe missed our last session on Muawiyah, we'll quote this for your benefit. So in Kitab Tarikh Baghdad, Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi records this interesting saying from one of these scholars of the Mukhalifeen by the name of Rabi' ibn Nafi'. So Rabi' ibn Nafi', we read this in Tarikh Baghdad, volume 1, page 223. From Rabi' ibn Nafi', it says here, يقول معاوية بن أبي سفيان ستر أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فإذا كشف الرجل الستر أو إذا كشف الرجل الستر اجترئ على ما وراءه. So what does this mean? It means that Muawiyah is the cape of the Sahaba. He is the cover of the Sahaba. If a mukhalif, if one of the lovers of Muawiyah ibn Alamat Istifham makes the claim that Muawiyah is not important, then we say to him, says, then you do not know your own sect, you do not know your own scholars. If you are conceding Muawiyah, what are you in fact conceding here?
The rest of the Sahaba.
You're conceding the rest of the Sahaba. And this is true. I will agree with Rabi' ibn Nafi'. I will agree. In spite of his misguidance, he is right. Because once Muawiyah is gone, once you uncover Muawiyah, what happens next?
You go after the things that put him to where he was.
Who appointed Muawiyah? Who brought him to power? Who paved the path for him to take over the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So with that being said, after that introduction, we'll now begin by going over some very clear proofs with regards to Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan's kufr. Correct? So the first source that we are going to be going over is a report where Rasulullah curses Muawiyah and his father as well as his brother. And this report can be found, in multiple sources. The first one we are going to be looking over is Kitab Musnad al-Bazzar. In Kitab Musnad al-Bazzar, in volume 9, page 286, and this is hadith number 3839. He narrates with his chain to Safina, the servant of Salama, radwanullahi ta'ala alayha. He says and the Arabic here says, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم كان جالسا فمر رجل على بعير وبين يديه قائد وخلفه سائق فقال لعن الله القائد والسائق والراكب.
That's interesting. The names aren't mentioned here.
Well, to read it in English for the non-Arabic speakers, the non-Arabic readers, it says that Safina narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting when a man on a camel came by. Alongside him was a leader and someone behind him. So there were two people driving the camel. There was someone in front, someone in the back, and then one person riding the camel. And so Rasulullah looked at them and said, "May Allah curse the leader, the rider, and the one who is riding." Right? So this hadith, before we move on to who the identity of this man is, who the identity of these three are, let's take a look at, is this narration authentic? So we go to Kitab Majma' al-Zawaid by al-Haythami, who grades these ahadith. So he says the following. When we go to Majma' al-Zawaid and we see his grading of the report, he narrates the report, رواه البزار وماذا؟
رجاله ثقات.
رجاله ثقات. So the Bazzar narrated it, and the narrators are what?
Trustworthy.
They're trustworthy. So the Sanad, there's nothing wrong with the Sanad. Al-Haythami had no objections to this isnad. طيب. So the report is authentic. Now, who are the people here? So in order to understand this, we have to go to a book that is very useful when it comes to uncovering censorships. It is a primary source. It is a book that the Mukhalifin very much so do not like. And I believe that in the Desi world, in the subcontinent, their scholars have gone out on TV and said, we do not accept this book. If we accept this book, our beloved Mamujan is finished. And this book is Ansab al-Ashraf by Ahmad ibn Yahya al-Balaghi. In volume 5, in his bio of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, he records the following. So in Ansab al-Ashraf, the Sanad is a bit different, but they both go back to, or they all go back to who? They go back to Safina. طيب? So the report here says, عن سفينة مولى أم سلمة صلى الله أن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم كان جالسا فمر أبا سفيان على بعير ومعه معاوية وأخ له أحدهما يقود البعير والآخر يسوقه فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لعن الله الحامل والمحمول والقائد والسائق.
So the names are here.
So the names are here. This report is uncensored. طيب? So when it comes to this report, we see that this report is authentic. We see that this report is, but it was censored by al-Bazzar. And this is something we're going to notice. Go ahead.
Would that show that al-Bazzar definitely had Umayyad Marwanid tendencies, or do you think it might have been the narrators that he was narrating from that had those tendencies?
It could. Allahu a'lam. It could. It could be that al-Bazzar censored it. It could be that one of the scribes, one of the later scholars censored it. Allahu a'lam. But we see that, and this is very common, by the way. This is extremely common. You could do an entire discussion, entire lecture, an entire bahth on the censorship with Muawiyah. Inshallah, there will be an event, inshallah, with me and Brother Kakashi will go over how Ahmad ibn Hanbal used to go out of his way to censor reports specifically that make Muawiyah look bad. This is a very prominent theme, especially with Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. And I want to show this show this one for the English speakers in our audience. This is Kitab Tarikh al-Tabari, volume 38, page 53. And the translation is by Franz Rosenthal, who is a very prominent Orientalist. So he mentions here, then there is the statement of the messenger when he saw Abu Sufyan upon a donkey. And the other hadith is we say it was a camel. This version is a donkey, with Muawiyah and his son Yazid driving it. And Rasulullah said, may Allah curse the leader, the rider, and the driver. And as Rosenthal points out in footnote 279, he says, this is strange, as in the son of Muawiyah had not been born yet. And we know this is a mistake. We know that this transmission of the report is a mistake. It's not Yazid, the son of Muawiyah. Rather, who is it?
Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan.
Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan, who would later become the governor of Damascus under Umar ibn al-Khattab. So when it comes to this report, the report of al-Balaghi, I do want to mention a small illah. For those of you who are Rijal connoisseurs. So in the report of not Abd al-Razzaq, we'll get to Abd al-Razzaq later, inshallah. In the report of al-Balaghi, he says in his chain from Khalaf, from Abd al-Warith ibn Sa'id ibn Jumhan, from Safina. So Abd al-Warith ibn Sa'id, his mention in this chain is a mistake, right? And so that is, and we can see that from al-Bazzar's sanad. If you go back to Muslim al-Bazzar, his sanad has the name correctly. Correct? So this report is good. The sanad here is fine. Now, the other thing is that there is an alternative sanad for this report. There's an alternative sanad that has the Prophet cursing these three people. طيب? And we'll move on to that one now, inshallah. This is Kitab al-Ahad wal-Mathani by Ibn Abi Asim. In Kitab al-Ahad wal-Mathani by Ibn Abi Asim on page 186, bio number 197, he narrates the following. He says, Qais ibn Hafs narrated from Ghassan ibn Mudhar, from Sa'id ibn Yazid, from Nasr ibn Asim al-Laythi, from his father who said, I entered the mosque of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and his companions were saying, we seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from the wrath of Allah and his messenger. And I said, what's the matter with you? They said, Rasulullah said, may Allah curse the leader and the one who follows. طيب لعن الله القائد والمقود به. So this report, it shows us that there is another point of view. So we have Safina Mawla Rasulullah who saw the curse happen, and then we have another Sahabi narrating that he saw the Sahaba reacting to the curse, as in he did not see the curse himself, but he saw the reaction. Now,
This was in the masjid.
This was in the masjid. He saw them in the masjid. They're standing outside the masjid, and he was watching them, reacting. They're like, "A'udhu billah." We saw this man getting cursed. But it doesn't say who the curse was regarding. So if we look at Kitab Ma'rifat al-Sahaba by Abi Na'im al-Asfahani, this is Kitab Ma'rifat al-Sahaba, which is an old biographical dictionary of the Sahaba by Abi Na'im al-Asfahani, who is, funny enough, interesting fact, he's an ancestor of Allama Majlisi, who is a Shia scholar. But his ancestor, Abi Na'im, was a Sunni scholar. And he has many, many books. In volume 1, page 2142 to 2143, in bio number 2231, he says the following. He narrates with his sanad, which is very similar to the one we just went over. From a man by Nasr ibn Abi Asim, or Nasr ibn Asim from his father, he says, دخلت مسجد المدينة وأصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقولون نعوذ بالله من غضب الله ورسوله. قلت مما ذاك؟ قال إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم كان يخطب آنفا فقام رجل فأخذ بيد أبيه ثم خرج فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لعن الله القائد والمقود أو المقود ويل لهذه الأمة من فلان ذي الأستاه.
So فلان والوقص السحري.
Fulan, who's Fulan here? Someone stood up
Like,
with his father and the Prophet cursed them. And the
he
line here,
the ummah of someone.
woe to this nation because of Fulan, the one with the large buttocks. Take a wild guess who this is.
It's like when you look at something like this, like one must laugh because like what do you understand from the hadith when they cut it out shamelessly like this? What do you understand?
Exactly. Like if I'm being warned, I want to know who it is. Like I want to know who it is. Why would you remove the warning? Why include the hadith at all? So now let's see if we can figure out who this is. Let's see if there is an uncensored version of this report. Now, I have been unable to find a fully uncensored version of this incident, but I did find one that gave us the name, and I'm going to show you what I mean. This is Kitab Tabaqat ibn Sa'd. Okay? Kitab al-Tabaqat al-Kubra by Ibn Sa'd. In Kitab al-Tabaqat al-Kubra, in volume 7, page 54 to page 55, what do we see here? In the bio of Asim Abu Nasr ibn Asim al-Laythi, he narrates the following. He narrates with a chain that is almost the same as the one before, only this time it's the author Ibn Sa'd with his chain. He says, دخلت مسجد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وأصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقولون نعوذ بالله من غضب الله ومن غضب رسوله. قلت ما هذا؟ قالوا معاوية مر قبيل أخذ بيد أبيه ورسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم على المنبر يخرجان من المسجد فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم فيهما قولا.
He said something about it.
So it narrates the exact same incident. He's like, entered the mosque. I saw the people saying "A'udhu billah" from the anger of Rasulullah. What are you guys talking about? What happened? Muawiyah walked out with holding his dad's hand. So this time we get Muawiyah's name. But what do they take out?
They take out what Rasulullah said about them.
They take out what Rasulullah said. The other one has the curse, but it doesn't have the what's it called? It does not have the person who's being cursed. They were kept anonymous. But then Ibn Sa'd, what did he do? He gave us the fact that it's Muawiyah, but he neglected to tell us that the Prophet cursed him. Which is ironic because you admit, we can see from the context of the hadith that it's something bad. Because the Sahaba were saying, A'udhu billah. أعوذ بالله من غضب
They're
الله
seeking,
وغضب رسوله.
they're
Like we
seeking
know
refuge.
exactly. They know that we know that Rasulullah was angry at him. So again, this is very, very humorous, the lengths to which they go to defend Muawiyah. Now, let me show you another version of this report in Kitab al-Mu'jam al-Kabir al-Tabarani, which is another primary source of hadith. In Kitab al-Mu'jam al-Kabir, he narrates with his chain, and this is in Kitab al-Mu'jam al-Kabir in volume 7, page 82, hadith 13,901. He narrates with his chain to the same Sahabi that we have shown now. This will be the third time. Nasr ibn Asim al-Laythi عن أبيه قال دخلت مسجد المدينة فإذا الناس يقولون نعوذ بالله من غضب الله وغضب رسوله قال قلت ماذا؟ قالوا كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يخطب على منبره فقام رجل فأخذ بيد ابنه أخرجه من المسجد فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لعن الله القائد والمقود ويل يوما لهذه الأمة من فلان ذي الأستاء.
So it's like basically the same hadith as Ma'rifat Sahaba.
The same one as Ma'rifat
Abi
al-Sahaba,
Nu'aym
which makes sense because Abi Nu'aym, who was his teacher,
al-Tabarani.
al-Tabarani. So we would say this is the primary source. So when it comes to this report, we see that the sanad is good. We see that the sanad is sahih. And how do we know that the sanad is sahih? Because Al-Haythami graded this in Al-Majma' al-Zawaid once again. So in Kitab Majma' al-Zawaid, we see here in volume 5, page 313 to 314, hadith number 9240, what does it say?
He says there that رجاله ثقات.
Rawah al-Tabarani narrated it. He narrated the report, and it is authentic. The chain is good. The narrators are reliable. But what's someone going to say? Say, oh, well, we don't know who it is. But we've shown from other sources, we have confirmed that the identity of this person is who?
It's Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan.
Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. So now, someone may ask the question, say, is there another piece of corroborating evidence for this? We say yes. There is a report from Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba, salamullah alayhi. This is a very, very important report for anyone who wants sources for the A'imma alayhim salam doing bara'ah of Muawiyah. And this is from the sources of the Mukhalifin as well. This is Kitab al-Mu'jam al-Kabir by al-Tabarani. In volume 3, page 202 to page 203, hadith 2632. I'm not going to read the whole report because it's a very long report, but I want to focus on something here. So Imam al-Hasan salamullah alayhi, the report says that Mughira ibn Shu'bah brought in people to give khutbah on the minbar and to insult and belittle Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam. And this is something that the Mukhalifeen, we know based off of our research, this is very well corroborated. The fact that Mughira did this, that Mughira was cursing Imam Ali on the minbar of Kufa.
I believe I did discuss this in an event before.
Yes,
I think it is
yes.
on the channel, yes.
We'll put the link up above. So the report says that Imam al-Mujtaba salamullah alayh, it says here that after watching Mughira bring in these orators, and then Mughira himself got on the minbar, Imam al-Hasan salamullah alayh stood up. So Imam al-Hasan said, he was told, ثم قيل للحسن بن علي عليه السلام اصعد فقال لا أصعد ولا أتكلم حتى تعطوني إن قلت حقا أن تصدقونني وإن قلت باطلا أن تكذبونني. So he said, I won't go on that minbar unless you give me these two conditions. One, if I tell the truth, you agree with me. And if I tell a lie, you say I'm a liar. So they agreed. فصعد المنبر. So Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam got on the minbar. فحمد الله وأثنى عليه. So he began by praising Allah and extolling his virtues. فقال أنشدك بالله يا عمرو ويا مغيرة أتعلمون أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال لعن الله السائق والراكب إحداهما فلان. Fulan once again, but we know who it is. We're not stupid. Like, why would Imam al-Hasan bring it up except to attack who? Muawiyah, because he was there. So Imam al-Hasan is asking Amr ibn al-As and Mughira to confirm it. So what did they say? Qala Allahumma bala. Allah is our witness, yes. قال أنشدك بالله يا معاوية ويا مغيرة. So first he isolated Muawiyah and took him down. Now what's he going to do? He's asking Muawiyah and Mughira. Who's he isolating this time? Amr ibn al-As. He asks, أنشدك بالله يا معاوية ويا مغيرة أتعلمان أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لعن عمرا بكل قافة قالها لعنة. بكل قافة قالها. What's this referring to?
I
Is that
believe
another?
it's Amr ibn al-As used to say like poetry that insulted Rasulullah during Jahiliyyah.
He used to insult Rasulullah with poetry. So Rasulullah used to pray against him. He says, Ya Allah, Amr ibn al-As has insulted me with poetry, and I am not a poet. So I cannot respond to him with poetry. So I am invoking your curse upon him. For every verse of poetry he has made against me, curse him. طيب? So what did they say? Qala Allahumma bala. So just like, well, he's doing it one by one. So first he went after Muawiyah, then he went after Amr ibn al-As. طيب? And he's getting the other two to confirm. Then he said, قال أنشدك بالله يا عمرو ويا معاوية بن أبي سفيان أتعلمان أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لعن قوم هذا. Meaning who?
I believe it is the people
Of the
al-Mughira.
third one, المغيرة بن شعبة. طيب. قال بلى. قال الحسن عليه السلام فإني أحمد الله الذي وقعكم في من تبرأ من هذا. قال وذكر الحديث. طيب.
The hadith is also
Sorry,
much longer, and the longer version is out in our books.
The longer version is in our books. We unfortunately don't have time to quote it. But we see here this hadith is very, very dangerous, because in this hadith, Imam al-Hasan goes after not one, not two, but three of their salaf. And he takes them down one by one. And subhanAllah, the attack that Imam al-Hasan uses, each one, he chose it very carefully. He would use the strongest possible one. Clear proof of Rasulullah cursing each one of them one by one. From Muawiyah, which one did he cite?
Well, Rasulullah curses the Qa'id al-Masa'iq.
Exactly.
The
same incident, the same one that we've gone over. Now this report, someone would ask, is this report authentic? In Majma' al-Zawa'id, al-Tabarani said, or not Tabarani, al-Haythami, and this is Majma' al-Zawa'id, volume 7, page 352, hadith 12,075. He says, رواه الطبراني عن شيخه زكريا بن يحيى الساجي قال الذهبي أحد الأثبات ما علمت فيه جرحا أصلا وقال ابن القطان مختلف فيه في الحديث وثقه قوم وضعفه آخرون وبقية رجاله رجال الصحيح. So this sanad, what's his ruling on this sanad?
The Rijal Sahih al-Bukhari.
They're all good except for one person who is the teacher of al-Tabarani. طيب, who al-Dhahabi praised. Al-Dhahabi praised him and said, I don't know any jarh on him. And then it is said that he had jarh and he had ta'dil on him. In Ilm al-Rijal, this is a very basic rule that you learn. Which takes precedence, jarh or ta'dil?
Ta'dil.
Usually it's
Ahsant,
unless the jarh has evidence to back it up, unless the jarh is explained. Is the jarh explained here?
Obviously not.
So this report is sahih. Now someone may ask the question, he says, is this report found in any Shia sources? It's a great question, right? Someone asks, can we prove this from our books? Luckily we can. And this can be found in Shaykh al-Saduq's Kitab al-Khisal. And I believe this is in the chapter on the seven characteristics. طيب. I want you to look at the sanad of this report. Who's narrating this?
The narrator is Abu Tufayl.
Because we can't have an event without narrating something from Abu Tufayl, right? It's a time-honored tradition. Whenever we want to prove a Rafidi Aqidah, you can always count on Abu Tufayl to narrate it. So he says here that Rasulullah cursed Abu Sufyan on 7 occasions. We're not going to read the whole report. We're going to put the report up on the screen, and we've linked it, and so our audience, they can see it. We're not hiding anything. We just have a time crunch that we have to stick to. So the final time that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed Abu Sufyan, he says, it says here that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at the very bottom of it, it says, thus the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed them. Moreover, the camel, its leader, and his rider, he also cursed them. طيب. So this report here, what is Abu Tufayl confirming?
We have like multiple Sahabis that narrate the same incident.
Ahsant. Right? وَنَاقَتُهُ وَسَائِقُهُ وَقَائِدُهَا قَالَ إلى آخره. So this is a report
what makes sense from it is that clearly it was in public in the masjid and multiple Sahaba saw it.
So who do we have? And it could have been on more than one occasion. We could be
Yeah.
so in one occasion he's cursed when he's riding on the animal. In the other occasion he's cursed when he gets up in the mosque. Correct? So we see here that all these reports, if we want to count how many Sahaba confirmed it, Imam al-Hasan, subhanAllah, is the way a Ma'soom narrates, correct? Imam al-Hasan got 3 Sahaba to confirm it. Himself, Amr ibn al-As al-Mughira. Then we have Abu Tufayl, then we have Safina, then we have, what's the other Sahabi's name? I believe it's Asim ibn al-Layth.
Yeah.
Layth ibn Asim?
Layth ibn Asim's father, I think.
Yeah, Layth, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. Let's just double check it real quick. Asim al-Laythi. Asim al-Laythi is the other one. So, how many is that? We have 5 Sahaba. 5 Sahaba confirming this, and we have shown that there are Sahih Isnads for it. So how are you going to cope for this? What's the excuse going to be? Are you going to try to weaken the chains? Because we showed that the chains are Sahih. Are you going to try to play the censorship game, say we don't know who the names are, we confirmed who that is? This is why they don't like to debate Muawiyah. Because they know, if anyone who's looked into it knows, when you have to play this game, when you have to cope this hard, it's a losing battle. You're not going to win. Lastly, we'll show one more Shi'i source. This is Kitab Waqat Safin by Nasr ibn Muzahim. هذا الكتاب حقا مظلوم. If anyone wants to read the bio of Muawiyah in Kitab Qamus al-Rijal by Shaykh al-Tustari, rahmatullahi alayhi, he shows that our most authentic ahadith of Bara of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, qabbahahullah, of Ibn Hind, rahmatullahi alayhi, you go back to Waqat Safin, the shortest, most reliable chains. So in Kitab Waqat Safin, page 218, he narrates Nasr ibn Muzahim, rahimahullah, an Abd al-Ghaffar ibn al-Qasim, an Adi ibn Thabit, عن عدي بن ثابت عن البراء بن عازب قال أقبل أبو سفيان ومعه معاوية فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم اللهم لعن التابع والمتبوع اللهم عليك بأقيعس فقال قال ابن البراء لأبيه ما الأقيعس قال معاوية or من الأقيعس قال معاوية. So someone says that if you want it from our books, there's a whole chapter in Waqat Safin of just reports of the various Sahaba narrating that Rasulullah cursed Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. I want to go over now another interesting example of censorship, if you don't mind. This is Kitab al-Tarikh al-Kabir by al-Bukhari, and this report is very, very interesting. Kitab al-Tarikh al-Kabir by al-Bukhari. Would you be so kind as to read this one, Nasir? And this is al-Kabir, volume 1, page 673, bio 883.
Reading here from his chain from Ibrahim ibn al-Bara from his father. قال سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم.
Read the whole chain. The whole chain is going to be important here. Yeah.
So Muhammad is al-Bukhari from Ali ibn Mujahid from Muhammad ibn Ishaq from Salam ibn Kuhayl from Ibrahim ibn al-Bara from his father. So قال سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وهو في قبة له وأنا خلفه. Where's the rest of the hadith here?
Where's the rest of the hadith? What's going on here? So let's focus in on this for a second.
What do you understand here?
What do you understand from this?
What do you get from this?
So someone may claim, we have to be fair here. Someone may claim, because this is Bukhari. We know this is like Bukhari's bread and butter. This is how he made his career. This is how he got started.
This was his piece of cake.
This is exactly what he does. This is what he's known for. Okay. So, but someone may argue, because this is Kitab al-Tarikh al-Kabir, it's his book of Rijal, he only needs this for the chain. He only needs to show who's narrating from who. Okay? So that may be why he didn't include the report. But the more likely thing, and we're going to show you guys in a bit, is that Bara ibn Azib was in the tent with the Prophet, and the Prophet said something, but Bukhari did not want us to know what it is. Now, take a wild guess who's being attacked here. Just take a guess.
I mean, he is the son of the question mark himself.
The son of the question mark. The what's it called?
Is it A, B, C, or D?
Muawiyah would order all 4. It was like, give me the whole thing. Like Muawiyah will come into the buffet or not the buffet, will come into the restaurant. They'll give him the menu and he'll say yes. That's what he'll do. Okay. Yeah. This is Kitab Musnad al-Rawayani. In Kitab Musnad al-Rawayani, he narrates the following. In volume 1, page 235, hadith 335. Could you read this with the sanad as well, if you don't mind?
He's narrating from Muhammad ibn Ishaq, who says he narrates from Ishaq ibn Ibrahim, from Salama, from. It seems that there are two Muhammad ibn Ishaqs here.
Yes.
From Ibrahim ibn al-Bara ibn Azib, from his father. قال مر أبو سفيان بن حرب لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله ومعاوية خلفه ورسول الله في قبة وكان معاوية رجلا مستهن.
Mustahan, yes. We'll go over that in a second.
فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم اللهم عليك بصاحب الأسته.
Okay. So this report is the same chain. Muhammad ibn Ishaq from who?
From
the last report, from Salim ibn Kuhayl, from Ibrahim ibn al-Bara. And the Muhaqqiq here pointed this out. He's like, it seems that one of the names was dropped in the Sanad. And he quote, look what I underlined. إلا أن الإمام البخاري ذكره في التاريخ الكبير مختصرا بلفظ. What do you mean مختصرا بلفظ? That's not مختصرا بل مبتورا. So how do we know it's the same report? Because it's the same narrators, and he's narrating Rasulullah was where?
In a tent, and he was behind him.
He was in a tent, and I was behind him. And who did he see? In English, to read the hadith in English, Abu Sufyan was walking, and Muawiyah was behind him. And Rasulullah saw him, correct? So what did Rasulullah say? Oh Allah, destroy the alayka bi sahib al-asta. Alayka bi fulan, what does that mean?
May Allah destroy him.
May Allah destroy fulan, or Allah deal with fulan. And we can evidence this from Kitab Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith 2934. And the sharh of this hadith can be found in Fath al-Bari by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in volume 11, page 198. He says the following. He says, قَوْلُهُ وَقَالَ اللَّهُمَّ عَلَيْكَ بِأَبِي جَهْلٍ أي what?
May Allah destroy him.
بِإِهْلَاكَ. Right? So Rasulullah says, Allahumma alayka bi Abi Jahl, oh Allah, destroy Abu Jahl. So when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Allahumma alayka bi sahib al-asta, who's he referring to?
Muawiyah, lanatullah alayhi.
Kana Muawiyah rajulan mustahan. So sahib al-asta means the one with the large buttocks. This report can also be found in a couple of other sources. This can be found in Kitab al-Mu'jam al-Awsat by al-Tabarani. Kitab al-Mu'jam al-Awsat by al-Tabarani, volume 4, page 208, with a similar chain. Al-Haythami graded this hadith in Majma' al-Zawad in volume 6, page 147 to 148, hadith number 10,162. What does he say here?
رواه الطبراني وفيه ابن إسحاق وهو مدلس.
Ahsant. So he says the problem here is Ibn Ishaq, who is reliable. He's saduq according to them, but he's a mudallis. He did an'ana here. Okay? I want to respond to this really quickly. When a narrator who's a mudallis, but his tadlis is not like, there are various tabaqat of tadlis. Ibn Ishaq is not the tabaqa where his report is rejected, or he's not considered da'if because of the, because of his tadlis. If it can be proven that he narrated from that person, then we can accept the hadith. So who's he narrating from in this report?
We would have to look at the report of al-Tabarani and al-Mu'jam. He's narrating from Salam ibn Kuhayl.
From Salam ibn Kuhayl. Okay, طيب. Easy. Let's play this game. Here's Kitab Sunan Abi Dawud, hadith 487. What does the chain say? He says, حدثنا محمد بن عمرو حدثنا سلمة حدثني محمد بن إسحاق حدثني سلمة بن كهيل ومحمد بن الوليد بن نويفع. And Albani said the chain is Hasan. So we have authentic proof that Ibn Ishaq met this man and narrated from this man. So what does that mean about his report here, where he's cursing Muawiyah?
It's Musnad. It's connected.
It's connected. It's acceptable. But again, we gotta play games. We gotta play games with these guys. When it comes to Muawiyah, we have to play games. Al-an, do we have time for one more, inshallah?
We do, yeah.
We do have time for one more, inshallah. هذا كتاب تاريخ ابن أبي خيثمة. And this is one of my favorite reports about Sayyidina Ammar ibn Yasir.
Salamullahi ala Ammar.
Salamullahi alayhi. Salamullahi alayhi wa salamullahi ala Abawayh, ala Yasir wa Sumayyah. So he narrates in the bio of Sa'd ibn Hudhayfa. Sa'd ibn Hudhayfa is Sa'd ibn Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. So inshallah, soon we will be doing the biographies of Hudhayfa and Ammar. I just want to point out this interesting fact. When Rasulullah paired up the Sahaba, he made like pacts of brotherhood between them. Do you know who he paired Ammar with?
Hudhayfa.
He paired him up with Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. So
And they were the
Sa'd ibn
ones that were
Hudayfa,
together. They were the ones that were together at al-Aqaba.
ahsant, correct? So these two were very close, which makes sense because these two are both من السابقون الأولون. طيب? And both of them were sons of shuhada. So Sa'd ibn Hudayfa, it's almost like he's narrating from his uncle. He's narrating from a man who's very close and very beloved to his father. So he said, Ibn Abi Khaythama narrates the following: حدثني أبي. Rather, let me read the reference first. This is Tarikh al-Kabir, also known as Tarikh ibn Abi Khaythama, Safar al-Thani, correct? And the reference here is volume 2, page 991, hadith 4271. And I tried to find a better print of this book, one which would be less confusing for the reader because of the way it's organized, but unfortunately I could not. So he narrates here, حدثنا أبي قال حدثنا جرير عن الأعمش عن منذر الثوري عن سعد بن حذيفة قال عمار رضوان الله تعالى عليه والله ما أسلموا ولكنهم استسلموا وأسروا الكفر حتى وجدوا عليه أعوانا فأظهروه. What does that mean?
By Allah, they did not become Muslim. Rather, they had surrendered to basically what had beaten them.
By Allah, they did not convert to Islam. Ma aslamu. Because when you Islam, what does it literally mean?
To surrender.
To submit, not to surrender, to submit. To surrender is istislam. Islam is submission. Ma aslamu walakin istaslamu. So Ammar, what's he saying about Muawiyah? And Amr ibn al-As and Abu al-A'war al-Sulami and their gang. What is he saying about them? Don't be deceived by them. These people did not submit. They simply surrendered and veiled disbelief until they found support, so they unveiled it. Is this report authentic? This is Kitab Majma' al-Zawaid by al-Haythami in volume 1, page 148 to 149, hadith number 439. What does he say here?
He says, رواه الطبراني في الكبير وسعد بن حذيفة لم أرى من ترجمة.
MashaAllah. Okay. Tabarani is a liar. Or not Tabarani. Al-Haythami is a liar. He's lying here. I intend to prove it, inshallah. First of all, you might be saying, safe. You quoted Tarikh ibn Abi Khaythama and then Majma' al-Zawaid. Majma' al-Zawaid doesn't grade Tarikh ibn Abi Khaythama. Who's he quoting this hadith from?
الطبراني.
Tabarani. Where is it in Tabarani's book? It's gone. We've seen this with Hadith al-Tayr. A version of Hadith al-Tayr was in Musnad Abi Ya'la, now it's gone. And this happens a lot with Mu'jam al-Kabir al-Tabarani, by the way. There's a lot of hadith that al-Haythami graded that are, for some reason, they're just missing.
Also, Hadith Safinat al-Najat in Sahih Muslim is gone.
Yes. These fada'il of the Ahlul Bayt and the mathalib of their enemies are strangely missing. So here's the thing. When you read Majma' al-Zawaid, have you ever seen, there are many examples of this in the book, where he'll say, Fulan, like the sanad is good, but Fulan, wathaqahu ibn Hibban. He says this in his book. Everyone in this chain is good except for Fulan, but it's okay because he was graded by who?
Ibn Hibban.
By Ibn Hibban. So what does that mean? Al-Haythami had access to what book?
Kitab al-Thiqat wa Ibn Hibban.
Kitab al-Thiqat. So if I can prove that this narrator is in Kitab al-Thiqat, what have I proven?
That he's either an ignorant mudallis or he's a kadhab.
That he's lying, or he for some reason just didn't happen to see this narrator. Because he says, I looked for him and I couldn't find him. وَسَعْدَ بْنَ حُذَيْفَ لَمْ أَرَى مِنْ تَرْجَمَةٍ. Let's see if I can't find a tarjama for Sa'd ibn Hudayfa. MashaAllah. This is Kitab Tabaqat ibn Sa'd, Tabaqat al-Kubra. Volume 6, page 240, bio number 2202. What does he say?
Sa'd ibn Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman rawa an Abi.
So is he unknown? If Ibn Sa'd, the oldest biographical dictionary, is mentioning him? I will give you another one. This is Bukhari in Kitab Tarikh al-Kabir. Bukhari's Book of Rijal, Tarikh al-Kabir, volume 5, page 34, bio number 4787. What does he say?
He also says that he narrates a hadith from Hudayfa.
He narrates, or Bukhari records who he is, who he narrates from, who he narrates to. Is he majhul?
No.
Kitab al-Jarh wa al-Ta'dil by Ibn Abi Hatim, the other early Rijal book. Kitab al-Jarh wa al-Ta'dil, volume 4, page 82, bio 5471. What does he do? He records his bio, who he narrates from, who he narrates to. And he mentions he narrates to Mundhir al-Thawri. None of them have mentioned any jarh on him, by the way. None of them that have mentioned any jarh, nor have they mentioned any ta'dil. But now we see Kitab al-Thiqat by Ibn Hibban, which was the book that we mentioned earlier, that we know al-Haythami had access to. Kitab al-Thiqat by Ibn Hibban, what does it say? In volume 2, page 179, bio 1383, what do we see here?
That he's included.
And if Ibn Hibban includes someone in a Thiqat, what does that mean?
Means he believes him to be trustworthy.
So 4 scholars have mentioned him. 4 of their early Rijal scholars have mentioned him. No jarh on him. We have ta'deel. What does that mean?
Means he's trustworthy.
Qaf wahid ya'anid. And Jama'ah, when it comes to the son of Muawiyah, he's Amirul Mu'mineen. You have that Jahil Nasibi coming out and saying, oh, I love Yazid, Tradha ala Yazid. And they have a hadith from Yazid, mashallah. There's a few of them in Tarikh Dimashq by Ibn Asakir. طيب? But when it comes to the son of Hudayfa, you have to play this game. When it comes to the sons of Jabir, inshallah, when we go over the biography of Jabir, you'll see even the sons of Jabir, they tried to weaken them. When the sons of Ammar, you never hear about the sons of the Sahaba that the Shia like, for some reason. Saf wahid i'anid, in case someone is being hard-headed. This is Kitab al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain, volume 4, page 548. Hadith number 4535. What do you see there in the Sanad?
He says it's Sahih.
Right? عن سعد ibn Hudayfa.
So that means the Dhahabi and al-Hakim found it to be Sahih.
Al-Dhahabi said it's Sahih, and Al-Hakim rather said it's Sahih, and Al-Dhahabi agreed with him in the Talkhis. So now we have Ibn Hibban, we have Al-Hakim and Al-Dhahabi accepting his report. What does that mean?
That's 3 scholars though.
That's 3 scholars. And Al-Bukhari and Ibn Abi Hatim and Ibn Sa'ad mentioned him without any jarh or ta'deel. What does that mean? He's certainly not unknown. We know who he is.
Mature, yeah.
No jarh, he's good. He's perfectly fine. So what does that mean about this report?
It's authentic.
Ammar ibn Yasir pointed to Muawiyah and his gang. He said, these people never accepted Islam. They never accepted Islam. طيب? And if I may, would you indulge me in one more, inshallah?
Of course.
طيب. This is Kitab Waqat Safin. I love this report because this report gives you the context. This is how you know Nasr ibn Muzahim was a great historian. Is that the other report, we only got a little bit of it. We only got Ammar saying this about Muawiyah and his group, but we want to know the context. This is Kitab Waqat Safin. Nasr ibn Muzahim, rahmatullahi alayh, gives us the context on page 215. And I'm going to read the Arabic and then give the translation. Nasr أخبرني عبد العزيز ibn Sayyah عن حبيب ibn Abi Thabit قال لما كان قتال صفين قال رجل لعمار يا أبا اليقظان ألم يقل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قاتلوا الناس حتى يسلموا فإذا أسلموا عصموا مني دماءهم وأموالهم. What does this mean?
It's like fight them until they become Muslim.
And if they become Muslim, what?
Then they're now protected from, the harm
Their
that is to come to their blood and their money.
Their blood and their property is protected. Someone is asking Ammar on the day of Safin, he's like, Ya Abul Yaqvan, please explain this to me. Rasulullah said we can't fight people if they accept Islam. Aren't these people, the people of Asham, aren't these people Muslim? So look what Ammar says. Ammar faqal bala. You're right. ولكن والله ما أسلموا ولكن استسلموا وأسروا الكفر حتى وجدوا عليه أعوانا. Now we have the context. Why did Ammar say this? Is because someone was asking him, like, how do we justify fighting these people? How do we justify fighting Muawiyah and his gang? Ammar's ta'weel is these people aren't even Muslim. Muawiyah and his gang is not even Muslim. We don't have to, we're completely justified in fighting them. As for Ahl Sham, and this is a topic we will cover inshallah if we ever do a discussion on Safin, as for Ahl Sham themselves, many of them were deceived, and the rules for fighting them were different. Imam Ali salamullah alayhi, there are reports about the way he would treat the fighters of Muawiyah's army in Safin. But with that being said, unless do you have any further comments or anything you would like to add?
Oh yes. There was just this one thing I wanted to add. It's also from Waqat Safin. I did not manage to make the full scan, but inshallah for the brothers and sisters that want it, I will post it for them. And we can understand clearly where Ammar, Sanamullah alayh, is getting this thing that the people of Asham are not Muslim. If you go down to the last paragraph, it was brought up to Imam Ali alayhi salam during the tahkim, the arbitration at the end of Safin, that Muawiyah had placed a seal on his agreement of the arbitration that said Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and Imam Ali had done the same. So Imam Ali alayhi salam said, ما أقر لمعاوية ولا لأصحابه أنهم مؤمنون ولا مسلمون.
ولكن ماذا؟
ما أسلموا ولكن استسلموا.
Yeah,
The same
ولكن
saying is
يكتب ولكن يكتب
يكتب
معاوية ما شاء.
ما يشاء. أحسن.
Let Muawiyah right here where he wants. I don't consider him a Muslim. طيب? But with that being said, I want to thank Brother Nasser. I want to thank those of you listening to us. Inshallah, we'll do a couple more episodes of discussions on Muawiyah. But I think with this one, you can clearly see just how easy it is to prove that
Yes.
our position regarding Muawiyah, he's not even a Muslim. We don't even consider him a Muslim. We do not even consider Muawiyah a Muslim. And if anyone has an issue with this, they can take it up with Rasulullah. They can take it up with Imam al-Hasan. They can take it up with Safina. They can take it up with Ammar ibn Yasir. طيب? So, alhamdulillah, this is very clear, alhamdulillah. And again, this is what happens when you try to cope for someone Amir al-Mu'mineen fought. Listen, Ali fought Muawiyah and thousands of people were killed. We have to ask the question, was all that bloodshed in vain? طيب, we say لا والله. We say Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was justified. صدق الله ورسوله وصدق أمير المؤمنين سلام الله عليه. Alhamdulillah. Nasser, would you like to close this off?
إن شاء الله. يا الله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم بحق الحسين الوجيه وجده وأبيه وأمه وأخيه والتسعة المعصومين من ولده وبنيه، صل على محمد وآل محمد وفرج عنا وعن أهلنا يا الله. اللهم ارزقنا من كل خير أحاط به علمك، واصرف عنا كل شر أحاط به علمك، ولا تخرجنا من هذه الدنيا حتى ترضى عنا. Ya Allah, do not separate us from the wilayah of Muhammad and his blessed family, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد.